because of the traffic chaos. About the book and the publishing experience with Raj, it has been our sixth book together. And we just see this journey continuing and developing further. After reading the book When Life Turns Turtle, which was the previous book, this character of Shaman is a character that was very elusive, and one would wanted to know more about what Shaman's experience was and how has his life been. And very naturally and somehow mysteriously, Raj was also thinking there, and he was already plotting through the book, and it was such a wonderful experience to have a prequel to the same book. Um, in the books that Raj writes, and especially this one, what is very significant is invariably all of us try to find materialistic answers to our materialistic problems, and it is just about switching into a little spiritual dimension and seeing how life can take us. And that is very evident from Raj's own journey of spirituality and being a I don't know what is it called in Hindi to let go. Whatever, people who don't possess any materialistic things, right? So thank you so much for coming, and I wish all of you pick up the book and do let us know how it is. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Swaroop. Thank you very much to Lead Start the publishers. And this is one of those moments that we've been waiting for, to hear it from the author himself, the very genuine making of this book. So, Raj, it's over to you to share with us as the author, somewhere where we take off from life's going upside down, turtling, and you're coming down to once again another fold of cartwheeling.
I'm not very good at making speeches, but I'm very good if I'm asked questions, then I can answer them. So I think I'll leave it for the end of this session.
Okay, we're going to get more into the dialogue once we get into the question and answer. But here we have with us, and we're very delighted genuinely to have Makran here with us, KK here with us. If you can share with us this experience and the theme of the book, which comes alive, even if those who have not read it are looking at life going 180 degrees, absolutely upside down. How do you take it, and how do you see this book bring alive that important turnaround in life?
It's a very interesting thing that when you have a friend, you've seen him, I think, for last almost 30 years, and you've shared with him really candid moments where, we are all getting formed, we are all trying to figure it out, or rather not figuring it out. And at that point in time, somebody sitting next to you is randomly just saying few things, and which he quotes maybe somebody from stature of international, and all of a sudden he says, and that reminds me of your writing, and then you feel, whoa, really? It's not that we are sitting at Lunar restaurant outside Santa Cruz Station East. We all, I think, KK. And then all of a sudden you feel that this man just opened something for you. It's not your own vision. He's giving you vision. It's always I felt with my journey with Raj is, and to the book I'll come because I've managed to read some. He's surprised.
Thank you, Makaran. Thank you very much.
Surprised. Rajat, I tried to impress him with the character's name. And he said, oh, you know the name. And Nivi would tell you, I was really reading it yesterday. I had to go somewhere, that is why. ऐसा नहीं है कि किसी से पूछा. Yeah, please. No. So, Raj manages to, I saw him from, always knew about Barshi, Pune, just talk like this. Then Bangalore, then he said, no, I'm going to Rishikesh, Delhi. But in all this, I always knew that he's on some journey which is secluded, you feel it, but actually he's more open now. So through him, I saw life, which we say is in abundance, we say. But unless and until you really don't shake your own roots, you cannot get that your abundance of life, you know. So when I see Shaman character in this, where it is mentioning about he's a sannyasi, but a nice thing which he wrote is there is something called domestic sannyasi also. Because that is why we are here, and that is why he is here. And I'm not saying he's a sannyasi, I'm not saying he's domestic sannyasi either. But there is that opening to that, which is, you know, you be in samsara and still not be in samsara. But then obviously you're going to feel what the desires are eventually going to come in. And what I get from his writing is he manages somehow to tell you some stories or some his understanding, reading, and his insight of the scriptures, which are alarming. Like, you know, we keep hearing about Ram, Ram, Ram. You know, now people are talking so much about it, and all of a sudden in the book, he talks about Ram. What is Ram? And he talks about this wonderful scene where, you know, that can you say Ra by keeping your mouth closed? You try. Can't. You have to open your. With Ma is the same. Can you say it without closing your mouth? So, Ma. So, Ra, Ma. Within that, there is the breath, that is the pranayama, which he talks about. So, I think what he is trying to say things in the book through this is a very interesting search of your belief. And your belief comes from where you are. Not necessarily, I can get some wisdom or some, all of a sudden my questions are resolved by some faith. But that does not mean I have to shift my faith. You can still be there, and it is, I always feel that's the greatest thing how we become big, or because of him, I feel is that acceptance, including, you know, inclusive of, and that is there in his writing by being what he is. You know, there is a sense of, and that is why I sometimes feel, I don't know, इस आदमी ने वो character में एक है कि Shaman always used to see somebody who's reading the book, the book, not what he was wearing, he or she, correct? But is in his book, I don't know, this Shambhavi's, I think from pink sari to white silk sari to some blue and some white polka dots to what all the some embroidery. He's mentioned it so many times. I thought that, you know, he's from some sari dukan malik or something like that. इतना कितनी लड़कियों को कब देखा? It's amazing, and I feel that you can get it. I think when you are somebody like him, that he is all of a sudden with whatever he's ready to talk about. And then I was shocked, then he spoke about the lips. And what else should I talk, you know? He created a lovely scene about, you know, waterfall and the cave behind, and then there is a temple inside, and then there is Ardhanari Nateshwar inside, deity is there, everything is clear. Yeah. And then they can't go out because there is landslide, so they have to come back. And he created that. And then the point is, I always knew Raj Supe as a poet, and I think he has the best heart. You know, he's so beautiful inside him that obviously in such heart, you know, you will only find love. And when that love, you will put it in man, woman, anywhere, God, or you know, disciple, master, disciple, whatever. So he somewhere managed that. Though I've not completed the book, पूरा मत करो, क्या है वो मुझे भी अच्छा लगता है. And the point, but I'm really influenced by the book in the sense of the characters were, I mean, it made me cry was, he's, some person wants to, foreigner is made of documentary, which always we know about it, they come, somebody helps you, he's made a film in Varanasi, some boatman helped him, but he couldn't find him, he got the money, then he didn't pay him, but when he got the money, he wants to pay him, but he cannot because he has to go back. And now that, his protagonist has to do it and he takes it on himself and he's trying to find that boatman in Varanasi and he can't find it and finally he asks beggar. And the beggar says he is not that, the name is not Gopal, it's Kishan Lal. And then he takes them 2 hours away and they walk trusting the beggar. And that man is there in the pipe, in his worst possible situation of life. And when he was given money, offered money, he didn't need money or he has lost the desire to have money with him. So I think he manages to create that pain for you. There is no answer to it. I mean, that reminds me of a wonderful thing which he's mentioned also, that his character, Maharaj says that, you read Gita so many times, but all the time you still feel there is new meaning to it because the text inherently has meaning, and I feel that happens to us. Even if I meet my friend again after so many years, I still find that I don't know him enough because this is the book he's written. So is that the Raj Supe which I know, which left for Rishikesh? No, through the book I feel no, he's again back. So it's very interesting that what actually the answer to your question is, he manages because of his free flowing, but still there is some kind of anchoring of his life which comes in his writing. His people are very truthful. They can be buffoons, but they're still very truthful. And that sometimes you feel that maybe life has not brushed him in a way which has made him bitter or made him cynical, because I think spiritual people can also be cynical, but he's not. So I think that's what is the takeaway for me, and he gives me energy. And obviously, if you read his book, any 4 pages, and you will know, "Arey, ye to maine padha nahi tha, acha hua pad liya." There are so many small stories. There's so many lovely. Jad Bharat is such a one of. I'm not going to tell you the stories. He's going to tell you the story. So, sorry. Done.
I'm sure, and each time you read the story, you're going to have a new revelation.
I'm
KK.
sure everybody's sort of glad
Thank you.
seeing the detailed monologue by Mr. Makun Deshpande. He normally does that. He's a writer-director. I'm an actor. I render prepared speeches. I don't really. So for me, it's very difficult to emulate that. But a few things about Raj Supe's writing and his work and he as a person. संक्षिप्त में बोलूँगा लेकिन मैं कम. So I promise. As far as Supe's writing goes, there's one unique thing about artists, be it any profession. Supe is of course today I'm sure people don't put pen to paper, even Supe uses a computer. But even in those days when I knew him since eons now, he used to write a sentence and never ever, rewrite it. So that's a very special quality. I wish I could do it in my profession. I can't, I do a retake. But that's something which shows that he's blessed with that quality, because it's very difficult for us to even write a small piece without trying to rephrase it. That's one. Number two is he as a person, I've never seen him negative, and it's been a very very long time. I've never seen him flustered. I've never seen him. I've seen him angry, but I've never seen him negative about anything. So if that question that you asked about 180 degrees and 360 degrees cartwheel, I think Supe would answer saying that, are you sure you're seeing it the other way around already, or are you there? So I don't know. I really, it's very difficult to really say it in a concise fashion as to who the person is. But he is my friend, philosopher, guide, guru, and everything. So that's the shortest form which I can give. Any other? What is the next question that you asked? Anyway, that's it.
So much
I
for
got
now.
lost in Banks monologue, but wonderfully done, Mac. Okay, let's hear Supe now. Raj Supe.
Search
No,
done.
this has come from a lot of criticism. When I wrote my first book, and there were women in that book, female characters, and everybody told me that you have cardboard female characters. You don't know women at all. And and my calling required that I did not know the woman. But as a writer, all the characters, all the women blamed me that all the male characters are true and all the female characters are just ideas. Because a female character is supposed to have flesh and blood. And you have never seen women. So what I did is, I said, okay, I will do study. and then what I did is, no, and then I realized that this material is available in books. So I read a lot of books that has polka dots and all of that. And I did a consolidated fraud. But it is real. And that is the idea of good writing. The idea of good writing is that the reader should think it is real. And I was convinced that it is now sounding real, though I have picked it up from here and there. But I think that's about answer.
I read the Khadi silk sarees with bottle green blouse and all, and I was like, where does that combo come from?
I don't know the exact reference to the book.
And Raj, something very significant about your writing, the skill of having one take that has been an observation. How do you manage that, and what's the sensitivity with that?
I'm not. One take is because I think I think about it for a very long time before I write. And when I do start writing, I don't think. So I think it works like that.
Just flows.
Yeah, it does flow. Yes, and I can definitely say that about 90% of it is inspiration, and 10% of it is my work. So I very well know that I'm not a good writer, but I know also that I end up writing very well. How I manage it, I don't know. Because I know a lot of good writers, and I know how good they are, and I know how bad I am. But when I end up writing a book, I'm surprised at myself that I ended up writing this, which is good.
Congratulations. And now, for those of you who have not had the opportunity or the privilege of getting yourself to the content of the book, we're going to have excerpts of the book read out. Along, we're also going to have Shiv sharing the space for the excerpts. You can come down forward. You can use the podium if this is comfortable for you. So wherever you happen to be, kindly get tuned in down here, and it's over to Rajat to give us the flavor.
Okay, before I read a few pages, just a few words about the man here. It was I think 93, 94 when we met and we spent a lot of time together. 93, 94, 95. I think Raj had just given up his job at advertising. KK was about to give up his job, and I had no job. So every evening, or 6 days a week, we would meet at this not so famous Lunar Cafe on Santa Cruz East because it was very cheap. I think 11 or 12 rupees a thali. And I think they used to live in a place which is right next to Lunar Cafe. So that became an adda. And I remember before we actually got talking, I used to go there and they used to be on a table together with a few other people. And I would look at Raj Supe and I would say, my God, there's Tolstoy there. And when we met, told me that he looked at me and he said, my God, there's Dostoevsky there. So there was a Russian connection. This is before he was not a sannyasi and I was a struggling filmmaker. Now he's a sannyasi and I'm still a struggling filmmaker. Okay, so a bit of the novel. The story was interrupted by the shrill ringing of Shaman's phone. He showed the screen on the phone to Indranil. Vasundhara flashed on the screen. I guess my phone ran out of battery, said Indranil. Shaman picked up the phone. Hi Vasundhara, where are you? Hi Shaman, Jai Guru. Sorry, I couldn't come to the store. It was getting close to feeding time for the girls, so I wanted them to be brought to the hotel room. They look like little angels, very sweet. Beautiful babies indeed, said Shaman. They will be little monsters if they're not fed on time, she said, laughing. I've been trying to reach Indranil. His phone is switched off. Here, speak to him, said Shaman, handing over his phone. Indranil spoke into the phone, informing Vasundhara that he would be late and to get some sleep. After he hung up, he turned to Shaman. Shaman, you swung from having a direct divine vision of Ma Annapurna to having fallen from your sannyas vows all within the span of 1 week. What kind of a life is that where you're swinging between such extremes? I'm stunned, Indranil said, shaking his head as if to make sense of something unbelievable. What a situation he found himself in. It's beyond anything I could imagine. Believe me when I say this, Indranil, the last thing I wanted was to be in such a situation. But I was helpless. It was like fighting a huge tidal wave or a mammoth riptide. I was drowning. Okay, staying away from her, I couldn't even stop thinking of her every waking moment. The speed at which our relationship changed stunned me. But I was like a helpless leaf caught in a tempest. Man, Shaman, it must have been so crazy. It was crazy. What's more, I was a proud man. I had been so confident that I would never fall into the clutches of karma. But lo and behold, I was caught so badly that I hardly recognized the person I had turned into overnight. I had dealt with a lot of women in my past, but it had been at a very superficial level. I had never known attraction or felt even an iota of it ever. So I thought I was immune and beyond it. Never did I imagine, even for a second, how life changes once you become passionately involved with a woman. For me, that one encounter at the cave was like someone throwing a lit matchstick into a petroleum well. It was just a raging inferno. After that, my throwing buckets of water was not going to abate the blaze. How did you deal with it, Shaman? The master on one side, your own guilt for forsaking your oaths, and of course the deep attraction. How did you come to terms with all these opposing forces without losing your sanity? I can't even imagine. At the time, I was continuously assaulted by the thought of how things will shape up. Did I have a future with Shambhavi? Was I setting myself up to lose everything? And then my mind would suddenly switch from concerns of the future to those of the past. I would think of all that happened in the past, my life before Shambhavi and my life after Shambhavi. I did not know if what was happening was right. This gave me great anguish. I so desperately wanted to fix things. I was alive in the present but not living in the present. Alive in the present but not living in the present. That's a deep one. Go on. When I thought deeply, I realized my pain was not coming from here and now. It was coming from another source. And what was that source? It was coming from contemplations of the past and the future. One day I was reading late into the night and I happened upon a quote by Arya Chanakya. At that moment it was godsend. It dispelled all of my doubts and made my mind clear as crystal. What was the quote? Gatisho na kartavyo bhavishyam neva chintayet. Vartmanira kalina vartyanti vichakshana. And what does it mean? The past is not worth mourning. Don't worry for the future. The wise advise us to live by the present time. Beautiful, Indranil exclaimed. The clear-headed Vichakshana, as Chanakya called him, resides in the present. And that's precisely what I tried doing. Was that difficult? Indranil asked. It was challenging to implement in the beginning, but slowly I got the hang of it. Living in the present means paying attention to what is around us right now and engaging deeply and wholly with it. To achieve that, I had to destroy a bad habit of many lifetimes. Bad habit. Yes, the bad habit of being lost in the past or the future. Think about it, Indranil. The only life we have is the one we are living now. There is nothing more to life than the present. People think that the present moment is just a fraction of a long life, a dot, a small parcel. But that's not how it is. The truth is, the present moment is an eternity. We experience life only in the present. Even the past and the future is felt in the present. We may live a life of 60 or 100 years, but God gives us only one moment at a time. And that's the moment for me to stop. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Rajat. You've certainly taken us to a very special moment in time with that rendition and bringing alive the book. I would now like to invite Shiv to join us to share the excerpt from the book.
I know Raj for a long time. He's a gentle guy, but he's not weak. He's very strong. Be careful, everybody. Shaman rose later than usual. He was curled into a fetal position, his body stiff from the sleepless night before. It was as if he did not want to face the day. He could hear his grandfather, already awake, moving pots and pans in the kitchen. Shaman washed his face, picked up his cloth bag and quietly exited the house. He headed towards the ghat. He walked down the empty street, dragging his feet, head hanging low, kicking the stones along the way. The most spectacular colors of dawn painted the eastern sky in pinks, oranges, and mauves. It was a crystal clear day. A gentle breeze blew in from the Ganga. Calls of sparrows, parrots, and mynas created a cacophony of sounds. With a heavy heart, Shaman walked to the last step leading to the water, sat there, and stared at the river for a long time. He took out a newspaper from his bag and with great deliberation laid it before him in a neat square. Then he joined both his hands in prayer and looked heavenwards. Head bent towards the newspaper and armed with a razor, Shaman commenced shaving his head, beginning from the base of his neck. With each swipe of the blade, a part of his soul felt scraped raw. As each jata fell onto the newspaper, a part of him felt amputated. It was only when his lower lip quivered and his hands began to shake that Shaman realized he was crying. He clenched his jaw, trying to control his emotions. He took a long time to shave his head. There were cuts and smaller tufts of hair in several places. With both hands and a controlled, concentrated force, he crushed the paper into a tight ball and threw it into the dustbin along with the razor. A beggar sitting near the trash can asked, "Did someone die in your family?" Shaman ignored him. Another beggar sat a little distance away answered, "He's a sadhu. They need not shave their hair for a domestic death. They are beyond all those things. But they shave their heads on full moon days." Both were wrong. Shaman turned out their voices and walked into the Ganga. Once waist deep in the water, he threw his saffron dhoti into the flowing current. The cloth gracefully floated away within seconds. He then removed his Rudrakshmala, touched it to his forehead, and placed it on the water. It sank immediately. He took off his holy thread and held it in his palms, letting the Ganga take it away. Then he let his wooden khadas, the kamandalu and danda flow away too. Shravan watched the river swallow his only belongings. Stripped of his robe, he felt like his skin had been torn from him. Now he was just a mass of bleeding flesh. He stood stark naked like the day he was born and cried like a child. Hot tears rolled down his cheeks and mixed with the cold water of Mahaganga. The pain in his chest was so tight that he was unable to breathe. Bared of everything familiar, he stood there in aching vulnerability, looking heavenward for answers. He simply did not know who he was. In a moment, it was all over. He felt like an orphan, bereft of his identity. Shaman cried loudly, trying to embrace Mother Ganga in his arms as he took several dips in her water. "Who am I, Mother?" he asked between sobs. Shaman continued to take dips until his tears stopped flowing and only dry sobs racked his entire body. The first ray of the morning sun peeked over the horizon and bathed Shaman in its orange light as he emerged from the water. He offered water to the sun god and stilled his mind, a practice that now came naturally to him after long years of practice. In a flash, he understood. Robe or no robe, nobody could take away who he was. His essence, his bhakti, and his faith would always remain with him. He remembered the words of Guru Nam Yajnananda Maharaj. The path of a renunciant has ended for you, but your relationship does not end there. It will go on. The other worldly relationships are not of here and now. They are of forever. Shaman stood motionless, trying to assimilate all his thoughts and emotions. Suddenly, he felt a pair of hands around his waist. He was confused for a second, but then recognized the touch of his grandfather, who was handing him the ends of a brand new white dhoti. Without speaking a word, Shaman tied it and embraced the old man. Once again, his eyes filled with unshed tears, seeing his grandfather's kind thoughtfulness. To Shaman's shock, he too had shaved his head. "It's a new beginning for both of us," his grandfather said with a smile. The old man's eyes brimmed with tears. Grandfather and grandson emerged from the water. The old man gently ran his hand over Shaman's head. "There are a few awkward tufts left. Let's find a barber who will shave your head properly," he said, and added in a soft voice full of emotion, "Silly boy, slinking out of the house without telling me? You are never alone, Shaman. I'm always there with you."
Thank you so much, Shiv. Join us also at the dais, our special guests Rajat Kapoor, Rajesh Mapuskar, Naushal Mehta, Shiv Subramaniam. Please come and join us for the unwrapping. Please collect a copy which has been wrapped. And we have a very special... And we have with us the Lady of Theatre, Dolly Thakur, to please join us in this frame. We have an expression of the book, so I'm going to request
My
also...
profoundest apology. She was present, but I did not know she was coming. If I knew, I would have.
Yes, thank you. And please go forth to unveil, unwrap and showcase a very special copy of When Life Cartwheels by Raj Supe, which has been published by Lead Start Publishing. Here we go. And here presenting to you When Life Cartwheels by Raj Supe. Congratulations, Raj, and congratulations to publishers Lead Start Publishing.
विनय विनय the camera.
Yes, so this is for the very special photo opportunity. Thank you very much.
Vinay.
Take your seats. We now proceed to the interactive evening which has been promised for those of you who have your questions. Okay, so any question that we have from those of you who are here, Rajat, Rajesh, Naushil, Shiv, something that you would like to bring out or have put forth to the table? Raj is here from the observations. As Raj said, he prefers to just take it as a conversation and dialogue rather than giving speeches. Maybe a little later we'll have the questions coming in from the other guests. Those of you in the audience, if you have a question, kindly raise your hand, we'll pass the mic across. Kindly share your name and the question. Okay, Raj, I'll continue from where you started off with the prequel,
Yes.
with the book.
Yes.
Okay. What was it as a writer to have it released in a format of your thoughts rather than going in a series from a volume, to first have your earlier book, When Life Turns Turtle, coming in second rather than having it as the first release and then bringing out the prequel instead of a sequel flowing? This concept and format, how did you think of it?
No, this is the question presupposes that the author knew that he's going to write 2 books. When I wrote the first one, I did not know I would write 2. When I wrote 1, Mr. Naushil Mehta told me that you should write 3.
Okay.
He did not mean that you should write the 3 in a series, but he said 1 is not enough. You should write more number of books. So I decided to write 1 more book, but I didn't know which one. And then afterwards, I realized there's one character called Shaman, which remains more of an enigma, and that is the one that became the next book. I did not know it; it just happened.
Okay. We are going to take a few questions. Definitely, it's going to be pointed down there. We've got Rajesh, Naushil. There's a lot of, and also Shiv, yes. Something we require to hear your voices about your interaction and curiosity. Shiv.
Questions, yes.
Raj, do you find it difficult to communicate an idea that is, in essence, say, spiritual?
It's supposed to be something accidental. When you say when life cartwheels are normally supposed to be exuberant and you cartwheel with joy. So they seem to be the same thing, something going upside down. But is it true that this, when you say when life cartwheels, are you actually expressing exuberance and joy of living, or it's just accidental and I'm reading too much into it?
Yes. No, the first one was called When Life Turns Turtle, and which is about a filmmaker who wants to become a sannyasi. His life flips, and he goes back to becoming a filmmaker. That was the story. So there is only one turn in his life. This guy, the shaman, the protagonist, has 2 turns. So he's a professor, he becomes a sannyasi, and then he becomes an ordinary man, and then he becomes a sannyasi, probably. So it's a full circle. And so it's a double turn in terms of cartwheel. The only difference is, and now this is a wise one, that is not true. This is the fraud. That when it turns turtle, there is no intelligence. But in cartwheel, you do it skillfully. So perhaps shaman has a consciousness of what is happening to him. Indranil perhaps didn't have it. Now, this is a post facto answer. This is not how I thought it.
Yes, next question.
Yes, Mr. Vijay.
Do you think you will be viewed as a rebel in the spiritual tradition for having written a love story? And am I allowed 2 questions?
Definitely.
Yes, yes, of course, you can ask questions.
Second is, you are a man who has worked in the visual medium. And I found that like the earlier book also had a Diksha ceremony. This book also has a Diksha ceremony. So maybe it is a visual element of the ceremony, I don't know. But the question from that is, when are you giving us a film.
When am I giving? A film. I'm just a writer. I cannot give you.
filmmakers here. We called them. Rights के लिए मेरे से बात करो.
Okay, that is the second part of
Shaman character or actor already here.
lead cast. Okay, so that is the second part, the second question. The first question is about being radical and being looked at.
There is a quote with which the book begins. Yeah, this is the quote with which the book begins. I renounced until I had renounced everything. I renounced until I had renounced everything. I even renounced food and clothes. When I renounced renunciation, I found spirituality in worldly life. Swami Muktananda.
We'll take the next question. There were two hands raised, yes.
Yes.
Is the writer within you who seeks drama and uncertainty and turbulence of emotions at loggerheads with the seeker within you which is seeking stability and peace?
Well, the writer that I was before.
No, even now, because you're writing
no,
even now.
and that is a part of my answer. The writer that I was before had a struggle, and it was at war with the person, the spiritual person. But this one is not. Now I am not at war with it. The two people are the same people, and there is no trouble at all. I'm quite at peace.
We have another question.
Hi, good evening.
Good
I'm
evening.
Divya.
Yes.
Congratulations for
Thank
your
you. Thank you.
book release. Okay, you as an author, whose book you would never like misreading? Like, your favorite author and your inspiration behind writing all such beautiful books.
Well, the book that one should not miss, I have 200, so I cannot possibly say. And I'm sure that every author would be completely challenged in answering as is one book. I cannot, because it would be doing just injustice to 199. So there are very many authors. I wouldn't like to just name one. And as to which is the inspiration for having written so many books?
Yes.
Yes, all the writers, all the good writers. I mean, I don't think there is any writer who doesn't owe it to the writers before. If there were no writers before, I doubt if there would be any writer. So because there are other writers, one becomes a writer. So I owe it to them.
Thank you.
We have a question there, almost the last.
By what people would think of you once your book came out, like your image as a person. So how did you find that balance, or what did you find more important, your image as a person once the book came out, or what you wanted to put across to the public?
No, as a part of my occupation, I mean, what I do, I'm supposed to throw the image in the dustbin.
Right.
This is a part of my job. So that wasn't much of a problem.
Okay.
So throwing the image was not an issue at all. But it was more, I mean, my concerns were more about not hurting anybody. Because what does happen is that it's not about, I mean, anybody can say anything about anything, but these things are very delicate. You represent institutions. You represent schools of thought, traditions. And when you try to say something that is at odds with it, you end up trespassing. You end up hurting sentiment. So that was the problem. But then I realized that when the entire process is done, when people have read the book, and when it has had its effect that it is desired, if it can do better than what it would have, if the book did not exist, then I think it does justice. Example is that people came to me because of satsangs and various other things, And then I wrote this book, novel, first one, When Life Turns Turtle, which is, of course, it has masala and all of that. And a lot of people traveled all the way to Rishikesh after reading the book because they were interested in this. They got interested in spirituality, they got interested in gurus, and many of them, I can say at least 50 people have been initiated. and have come on the path thanks to novel. And I don't think 100 of my speeches have done that. So now that I know this, it does not matter what people think, because I know this does its job. And there's also another thing which is deeply connected with this, which is that you must serve God or people in the way that you know best. And I tend to think that what I know is a little bit of writing, a little bit of speaking. So if I can serve God also, or people, or religion in this way, it is just the same. And I don't think it is at all a problem.
Thank you so much.
Yes, Nashida.
We've got 2 questions coming up. 2 questions. Now all the questions are flowing.
Yeah. This response to your previous novel.
Surprising responses to the previous novel. Yeah. A lot of, responses were manifold. One of the what I do is I run a Hinduism course. Okay. Now this Hinduism course is about, people are supposed to do 4 modules, and they're supposed to do various things, study things, scriptures, answer questions, and so on. It's a rigorous thing. And in that I recommend them 20 spirituality books, which are by saints and scriptural books, commentaries, etc. And then one of the students who took the course, he went to the whole course, and then because he was curious, because I was doing the course, he also read the novel. And at the end of the course, he came and told me that the best book was When Life Turns Turtle, not the syllabus. That got me closer to God and religion than all that you prescribed and taught. So I think that was a surprising reaction to one of the many.
We're having a lot of hands now lifting up. So we got at least 3 I see there. You take your pick.
Yeah. The question involves a lot of positions. There is a position of right wing, there is a position of Hindu, there is a position of this, and so on. I think one great help that we can do is we can do away with these terms to begin with. And in the simple language of life, which is common to all, we can bring all these to a position of reconciliation. A book like this is also like that, because this is not right or left or whatever. This is life. Life is common. Who can write about anything? His craft is so good that he can write about anything with great conviction, and people believe it. So they don't draw from their life. They're so skilled, they can write about anything, just about anything. They're very imaginative, they're very gifted, they're really great. I admire them. I'm not one of them. So, my
gracious, thank you for being here with us. Rajat Kapoor, Rajesh, Mapuskar, Naushil Mehta.
This is Rajeshwari, she's been helping us. And Preeti,
Shiv
she's a marketing manager, and I thank her.
This is a little token of appreciation.
Rajeshwari is from the editorial and Preeti is from marketing, and together with Swaroop, Bhuvneshwari, please come, ask her, shake her hand and ask her what is your name. Now you come here. Thank you very much. This is all Lead Start team, and they're all great guys. And without them, this is not possible.
And now coming to you, our dear readers, please don't go away until you've joined us at the table. We have for each one of you who have joined us this evening a token of appreciation and affection from the hands.
Is there anybody from Tidal Waves whom I can thank? Please come. Yeah. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
It says a lot of the gratitude that we have to extend this evening. May I invite you from the chairs to please join us, to kindly come forward, and in the order we'll fall behind. So there's something for everyone.
हाय सर, क्या कहना चाहेंगे और आप यूनिक आज के
राज सुपे जो है मेरे बहुत पुराने दोस्त हैं, अभी 25-30 साल। वो आजकल ऋषिकेश में रहते हैं और आध्यात्म में अपना समय बिताते हैं। तो उनकी राइटिंग, वो पहले से राइटर ही थे और बहुत खूबसूरती से लिखते हैं, बहुत ही अच्छा लिखते हैं। तो अभी जो दूसरी बुक है ये, एक पहले थी लाइफ टर्न्स टर्टल, उसके बाद ये व्हेन लाइफ कार्टून्स, दोनों एक ऐसी जर्नी की कहानी है जहाँ पे किरदार जो हैं वो आध्यात्म की तरफ जाते हैं, लेकिन सांसारिक चीज़ों में बंधने के बावजूद एक अलग सा एक रास्ता है उनका। तो ऋषिकेश के बारे में काफ़ी कुछ उसमें मिलेगा आपको लगेगा कि जाकर मैं एक बार ऋषिकेश जा करके देखूँ वो गुफाएं और वो सारी चीज़ें, तो बहुत ही बेहतरीन है। तो मैं बड़ी खुशी से, मतलब मुझे बड़ी खुशी है कि आज वो ये सेकंड बुक रिलीज होगी।
पर्सनली बुक पढ़ना कितना पसंद है आपको और फेवरेट ऑथर्स के नाम?
अरे ऑथर्स तो बहुत सारे हैं, ऑथर्स तो बहुत सारे हैं, वो तो एक बोलना बड़ा मुश्किल है, लेकिन बुक्स पढ़ना आजकल थोड़ा सा कम हो गया क्योंकि स्क्रिप्टें बहुत पढ़ रहा हूँ तो थोड़ा वो, लेकिन मैं पहले से काफ़ी किताबें पढ़ता था, लेकिन ऑथर्स तो भरपूर बहुत सारे हैं।
फाइनली सर, राज सर के साथ में कोई मेमोरी जो हमसे शेयर कर सकें?
मेमोरी मैंने कहा ना 30 साल का है, तो जब से हम लोग बहुत सारा, मतलब वो मेरे बहुत ही ज़्यादा खास मित्र हैं और हमने MBA के ज़माने से साथ में थे। आज वो मेरे दोस्त भी हैं, फिलोसोफर भी हैं, गाइड भी हैं, गुरु भी हैं। तो लंबी जर्नी हुई है।
तो इस बुक पे कोई फिल्में बन सकती है अगर चाहे?
बिल्कुल बन सकती है, फिल्में बन सकती हैं, बिल्कुल बन सकती है।
बोला है? क्या कहना चाहेंगे सर आज के इवनिंग के बारे?
बहुत मज़ेदार इवनिंग यार, किताबें लिखी जाती है और उसका विमोचन होता है, बहुत अच्छी बात है, क्योंकि एक ऐसी चीज़ है मुझे लगता है किताब लिखना कि ये आप और आपकी किताब के बीच ही सब कुछ होता है, नहीं तो पिक्चर देखने जाओ तो, है ना, तो ये अपना निजी एक और किताब मतलब एक विश्व लिखना पड़ता है, ये कहानी, उसके सारे किरदार एक आदमी ने लिखना और उस विश्व में आप पढ़ते पढ़ते चले जाते हो, उसका एक आनंद अलग ही होता है। इसलिए आज की शाम जब मैंने देखा कुछ फिल्म मेकर्स भी आए हुए हैं, है ना, जो हो सकता है कि इस किताब के राइट्स ले ले और फिल्म बना लें, पर मज़ा है कि हमारे यहाँ भी आज भी वेब सीरीज़ आ गई, सब कुछ आ गया, लेकिन किताबों का अपना दौर है, ये देख के बहुत ज़्यादा खुशी हुई।
पर्सनली आपको कितना पसंद है बुक पढ़ना और फेवरेट
बहुत।
ऑथर्स के नाम अगर कुछ बता सकें?
फेवरेट ऑथर्स तो ऐसे ही मतलब हमारे मेरे तेंदुलकर साहब बहुत है, अच्छा लगता है मुझे, पर मैं ज़्यादातर किताबें वो पढ़ता हूँ जिसमें से मुझे कोई जो होते हैं ना कि कहानियाँ मिले, और जैसे कि अब ये जो ऑथर है राजसू पे, इसकी किताब में ही आपको अनगिनत राइटर्स मिलेंगे, मतलब वो वेद पुराण, एंशंट हिस्ट्री, सारे उसमें से आपको एक एक चीज़ें मिलेंगी। तो मैं किसी ऑथर के नाम से ज़्यादा उसका व्यक्तित्व ढूंढता हूँ, और वो मुझे आज राजसूपे से मिला है। और अगर बाकी तो बहुत बड़े बड़े राइटर्स हैं, हम हमेशा बोलते रहेंगे, दोस्तोयेवस्की या रविंद्रनाथ टैगोर साहब हम बात करेंगे, लेकिन मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि आज के जो राइटर्स हैं जो कि हमेशा हम देखते हैं, चेतन भगत जिनकी फिल्म राइटिंग पे फिल्में बनी, ये जो राइटर है राजसू पे, इसमें आपको थोड़ा नॉलेज मिलेगा, सिर्फ ये मनोरंजन की किताब है,
बस कुछ ना कुछ सीखने को मिलेगा रीड करने से, हम ये बोल सकते हैं। के सर भी बोल रहे थे कि इस पर फिल्म बननी चाहिए, आप क्या कहना चाहेंगे, कौन सूटेबल एक्टर होगा?
मुझे लगता है के ही है, के तो है ही, मुझे लगता है के बिल्कुल ही है। अब वो लड़की ढूंढनी पड़ेगी, बहुत खूबसूरत स्टोरी है, लव स्टोरी। मैंने आज मेरे एक दो दोस्त को भी बुलाया था, है नहीं राकेश मेरा, वो है नहीं, लेकिन मैं उसको ज़रूरी किताब भेजने वाला हूँ, तो हो सकता है इस पर फिल्म अच्छी बनेगी।
आप डायरेक्ट करेंगे?
नहीं मैं एक्टिंग करूँगा।
अच्छा सर, चिकन करी के बारे में बात करें, क्या कहना चाहेंगे?
आई लुक फॉरवर्ड कि कोई एक फिल्म ऐसी बनाएं जिस पे जो सब्जेक्ट है वो इंस्पायर्ड फ्रॉम रियल मोमेंट्स है, रियल इवेंट है, और उसका दर्द कुछ ज़्यादा है, और हम जब लॉ एंड ऑर्डर की बात करते हैं तो लॉ एंड ऑर्डर अगर हम उसको ठीक ना कर पाए तो हो सकता है उसका मजाक उड़ाया जाए, तो वो ना हो, इसलिए ये फिल्म
कितना रिसर्च आपको करना पड़ा, क्योंकि आपने कहा ट्रू इवेंट्स पे डिपेंड है प्लस लॉ एंड
मैंने मुझे सिर्फ एक ही चीज़ करनी पड़ी, रिसर्च तो मैंने खैर वकील किए हुए हैं, लेकिन साउथ इंडियन वकील करना था और थोड़ा सा विभत्स रस वाला करना था, तो वो जो कि क्रिमिनल और खुद ज़्यादा क्रिमिनल हो रहा है वो करने में थोड़ी सी दिक्कतें आती है। और एक्चुअली क्या हो जाता है जब केस आपको ऐसी सामने नज़र आती है जो लगता है कैसा किसने किया और आपको उसको डिफेंड करना है, तो उसमें ज़्यादा तकलीफ है।
चिकन करी का अलावा और क्या रहा है कुछ बता
अरे
सकते हैं
अब मुझे लगता है कि मैं भट्ट साहब की सड़क को मैं काम कर रहा हूँ और एक वेब सीरीज़ कर रहा हूँ, तो
थैंक यू सो मच सर।